On today's video, we're going to dive deeper into right rear wheel load. We're going to talk about how to free a car up, the things that we need to do to free a car up to create good right rear wheel load. It's kind of hard to say, but more on that when we get back. On this video, we're going to talk about right rear wheel load. We've had other videos about it, but we're going to go. I get a lot of questions on how do I create a free roll steer condition for the right rear. I get a lot of questions on that. So we're going to cover that, and we're going to break it down into 3 videos and cover about 3 points per each video. So, but first, let's cover all the facts for right rear roll steer, or to create a car that's free on the right rear. Not in any particular order, but wheel offset. Wheel offset's very important to having a free car. One that we probably won't discuss, but the whole video needs to take the tone, is our thought process, our the way we view the race car. Our mindset needs to change, and we need to focus on the right rear and how the right rear functions. Okay, we need to start visualizing that. So our mindset's a very important piece, which I just added. So that was not on my list of things we need to do, but it is very important. Defining right rear wheel load, that's very important. Rear end, side to side location, part of freeing up the right rear is getting the right rear out there where it needs to be. Bar angles, static steer, steer that's in the car while the car's sitting on the ground at ride height in a neutral state. Stagger, step out. So our cars are going to have to be stepped out. They're not going to go around the corner if they're just underneath of us. So we are going to have to be stepped out a little bit. Entry, find an entry, understanding what entry is, and understanding where entry is. Very important, poorly done. And the last thing is, where do I actually apex the corner? Okay, where am I turning the car? For some people and some racetracks, how many times am I turning the car? Okay, this may not be something that you can understand why you're in the car, but this is definitely something you can understand from videos. So part of our racing expense is having somebody to do the videos, hiring somebody or paying somebody's pit pass or something to do a video. Videos are a great learning tool, and they suck to do, and they suck for the camera guy. So make sure you treat that person very well. Make sure you compliment them very well, compensate them, but make them feel special, because the value of learning from videos is tremendous. So let's get started on our 3 points today. Point number 1 will be wheel offset. Point number 2 will be defining the right rear load. And point number 3 will be stagger. These will be our 3 points that we're going to talk about in this video. And let's start with stagger. Stagger is something that I believe you guys are all doing. I feel like there's limitations to stagger based on the tires you can get. So it's a little tough sometimes. But I hear different things about stagger. People have these theories that they say, oh, I have 3/4 stagger is all I ever run, or I run reverse stagger or whatever, okay? But stagger is a key element to getting the right rear to roll the corner. That tire needs to be bigger. It's just as simple as that. We're not looking for a condition of tightness. So when I tell you these things, or I say these things, and you're watching out there and you go, hey, I think that's going to make my car too tight. we're not trying to tighten the car up. We're trying to free the car up. We're trying to create a free environment for your race car that'll help you get you around the corner. It'll help you be, well, it's not going to help you be more comfortable in the car. Odds are we're going to create a feeling in the car that you're just not going to initially fall in love with. Some of you guys will, but a lot of you are going to be like, yeah, it's too free for me. But you're going to have to learn to like it. If you look around in the world of racing right now, some of the best guys in, we'll just say modifieds, are coming out of the go-kart world. They were go-kart racers. Okay, I can't answer for all of them, but in our local area, and you guys have locals in your area, but in our local area, it's guys like Peyton Phillips, Reese Solander, Tanner Mullins. Tanner had a big go-kart career, a big mini sprint career. Tyler Davis. You know, these guys, and I hope they don't mind me mentioning them, but these guys all have race go-karts. Tyler's running the go-kart track at 81 Speedway. His daughter's racing. He's going to teach her, if she continues to pursue this, that she's going to have to be free. Okay? And what applies to that applies to us. Just because we're in a big car with big tires and a big motor doesn't mean that we need to forget our basics, our fundamentals. In go-kart racing, it's all about the right rear and keeping speed up. And just because we're going from something you cannot sacrifice horsepower to something you can, doesn't mean we should. Think about that. So stagger, very important. 2.5 inches is probably what you can get in a lot of cases. In some of the asphalt takeoffs and different things that we race around the country, there is more availability to stagger. If you have more stagger, then I think you have less step out. Okay, if you have little stagger, you're going to have more step out. Step out is going to kill momentum and it's going to kill speed. So we want to minimize the offset that our rear end is out to complete the rotation. So you got to remember, we're a solid axle that's tied together. No Detroit lockers here. So one of them two tires is going to have to give it up a little bit. And we've always made the left rear our dominant tire. Now we need to focus a lot on the right rear and make it our dominant tire. So stagger, point number one. Point number two, wheel offset. Wheel offset is overlooked, highly overlooked. Okay, we are getting into a world where we're running a lot of 4-off stuff. And I've had guys tell me, oh, I'd put a 5-off on if I could. Now, the only thing I like about a 4-off on a street stock or a stock car is when a guy goes, oh, I put a 4-off, it rubs the frame a little bit. Perfect. Then we know the rear end's about exactly where it needs to be. Okay. But the 4-off, and why do we put a 4-off? Because we're trying to tighten the car up. We suck that in underneath of us. Okay. We don't want to do that. We want to keep that wheel out there and allow it to be free. Allow it to be free so it rolls. Okay. So a 3-off is, becoming, like big amount of offset, I'm going to be too free. Well, it's not. We used to run 3-off all the time. And now we're running a 4-off a lot. And we need to get away from that because maybe we need to be on a 2-off or a 3-off with a 1/2-inch wheel spacer. There's combinations there that we need to be. But having that tire sucked in so hard isn't good for the car. It's comfortable. It's comforting. It makes you feel good. Okay. If you're not a little on edge in the car, you're probably not pushing it hard enough, speed wise, free roll steer wise. Okay. If you're a race car driver and you drive a race car, and a lot of you guys do it very well. So let's drive a race car. That's what I'm asking you to do. Free it up so it's faster. Free it up is not as comfortable to drive. So creating new feels in the car, creating new setups, creating new things, whatever they are, but creating new feels, expectations, that's part of being a race car driver. Not, oh, this is what I like, so everything has to revolve around this. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't always do that. I get it. When you're comfortable in a car, you can really drive it hard. But we have to create new comforts, which means we first have to be uncomfortable to learn how to be comfortable in a car that's faster. So right rear wheel offset. And the reason I'm probably hound on that a little bit, because the whole thing is going to be a little uncomfortable for you. So wheel offset, point number 2, very important that we start looking at what we're doing, understanding what we're doing, and start moving away from being so sucked in. Point number 3, defining the right rear. Understanding what the load is. We've covered this in other videos, but we'll cover it again. In a stock car that weighs right rear scale number, 750 pounds. Modified, B mod, 630, 680 pounds. Them are your right rear scale numbers. Okay, same thing with the mod light. You need 2/3 of that weight. So 750 pounds in a stock car, that means 500 pounds of load needs to be sitting on the spring, sprung, unsprung weight. So we have 2/3 of the weight of our scale. So the scale number divided by 3 times 2, simple way of doing it, gives us that load number. Okay, and we're going to make it real simple. A 250 spring needs to be compressed 2 inches. So it's your free height minus your compressed height gives you a compressed height in inches times the rate gives you the load. I'll put that up here so you can follow along. That's the load. 2/3 of your weight, that's the load you want. Now, you need to, like so in a modified, that load's closer to 400 or 410 pounds. And a lot of times we say 375 to 400, okay? It's not just got to be 500 right on the money, but you can have a little range there. And then within that range, you need to define what works best for you, what works best for your tire. An asphalt takeoff that has no grooves or sipes may not work as good as one that's grooved and siped. American Racer versus Hoosier, the tires are going to work different. A G60 is definitely going to be different than, a USRA tire or a UMP tire. UMP tire is going to work better than all of them. So you can define a little bit, and if you have tire options, but you can define a little bit the exact load. So now we're sitting on our 500 pounds of load. This is one of the most important parts. It has to be done at ride height. If you're ride height with the driver or you're ride height without the driver, if you scale with the driver or you scale without the driver, I'm going to let you hash that out. Okay, I can go either way. I can figure it out either way. But I like to scale with the driver. I like to set ride heights a lot of times without the driver because the driver is the one doing it. Has to be at ride height. If you're smashing your spring, the only difference you're going to get from a smasher and running the tape measure is the rod force and the shock. Okay, you may have a little bit of error because of the tape measure. And if you measure around the spring, you may find that it's a little crooked in the car. It may not measure spot on 11 inches, maybe 11 and a 16th. Okay. But if it's exactly the same on a tape measure as it is on a smasher. If you're wrong, if the car needs more load, you're going to have to give it more load. That's the bottom line. If the car needs more load, give it more load. Okay. But if you do it with the spring smasher, when you go back out and you put it on that car, your center to center better be that. So if you're setting it at 20 inches center to center on the smasher, when you go back out and you put the car on the car needs to be at ride height at 20 inches. Okay. If it's anything else, it's wrong. And if you don't check it, don't even bother setting it because you're just wasting your time. Has to be at ride height. Has to be at ride height. Has to be at ride height with a scaling spring in the left rear, not a preload spring. No preload in the left rear when this is happening. Scaling spring in the left rear, ride height set, load set. This tells us that the load distribution throughout the car is correct. Now we can put the car on the right rear and we can get the car to track through the corner. That's why we're doing this. Okay, we're not doing this just to say, so we can say we did it. We're doing it so we can put the car on the right rear and we can throttle the car on entry. Okay, so our 3 points are stagger, wheel offset, and defining load on the right rear. That's our 3 points for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to do the others in 2 more videos. We're going to cover the right rear. So there's some very important stuff coming up. There's going to be some stuff that I think you might struggle a little bit with because no one's ever taught us this stuff. No one ever told us what to do. Never. So if you had a coach, your dad or a friend that coached you as you grew up through your driving, you're blessed. It's a blessing. Okay. If your dad is telling you things and you're getting mad at him, stop, listen. He's trying to help. He's wanting to help. He wants you to do it right. Okay. That's what we're doing. So as a friend of mine told me, he said, hey, I don't agree with everything you say in the videos. And I told him, I said, I don't expect you to, because we can do things different because of our shock valving, of our program, of our thought process. We can do things different. You see it every day. Guy is that fast on the racetrack. I love to use this guy as a Reese Solander. I love to use him as an example because he's a good driver and he can drive a free race car. Okay, so I love to use him as an example. Can I do that with my car? Well, no, because I can't get past the fact that I need to tighten it up. Okay, old way of thinking, new way of thinking. You see it every week on the racetrack. Okay, we got to free up our cars. So ask yourself when it comes feature time, tighten or free? Which way are we going to go? We're going to tighten it up for the slick, or we're going to free it up for the slick. Okay, you have to choose. One way goes straight, one way goes around the corner. You make the decision on what you want to do. So 2 more videos on this subject. So fire away on the comments. Go left, go fast. God bless you. We'll see you the next time right here.